You're in the mix.
SKM presents Strictly for the Music Podcast. You are now live with the #1 podcast for all upcoming artists worldwide.
It's the real deal.
Welcome back to another episode Strictly for the Music Podcast. I'm your host, SKN. The next guy I've been direct is an artist from over 2,000 followers, 8 bands, 12 collections. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Renaissance Child.
Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going?
Hey, what's up, big dog? I appreciate the podcast and sharing your story and your music.
And I appreciate you having me on, man. This music thing this is therapy for me.
That's right. So let's start from the beginning, big dog. Let's discuss the music from the beginning, man.
But in the beginning, and it started when I started doing music at an early age. You know what I'm saying? It started in the church, and then from there it picked up. And I started rhyming when I was 17, and I took a hiatus from it because somebody told me that I wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? So I let that go to my head. And, fast forward, 15, 16 years, I'm in my 30s, and I'm trying to pick up where I left off.
That's dope, man. So before BandLab, in the studio, were you doing mixtapes or EPs or anything like that?
I used to do poetry shows out in Houston. There's a place downtown Houston called the Shadow Cafe, and I used to do poetry out there on Sundays. Just little poetry sessions that they had. And at that time, I was going under a different name. I wasn't Renaissance Child. I was Black Ghost. You know what I'm saying? And that name right there meant that, the darkness that I carry inside, you can't see me, but I'm right in your face,
That's dope, man. So, what about your first poem you wrote, man?
Man, the first poem that I wrote, this was, let me see, it was my 9th grade year. I was 13. I did it it was actually for an assignment for my English class. And my English teacher told me, she's like, maybe you should think about, writing more often. But, I was deep in the sports. I was a basketball player and had ambitions of going far with that until I got hurt. So I didn't start taking my writing seriously until after I had a serious knee injury.
What is a poem that you wrote that means the most to you?
A poem that I wrote that I wrote a poem for, and this one's pretty deep. I wrote a poem when my stepdad passed away, and the family asked me to read it at the funeral. And this was maybe 10 years ago, and I still get different family members asking me if I can make them copies of it. That one right there, it hurt, but at the same time, it felt good because that was my way of saying goodbye,
That's dope, man. So have you ever thought about making your poems into songs?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do now. It just, once I hear a beat, if I hear a beat that I like, then I start writing to it. And basically my rhymes is just, that's how I write my poetry. There's no specific way to rhyme. So, I just put my poetry to the beat,
How did you develop your style?
My style comes from the different things that I listen to. I may be considered a rapper, but I don't listen to a lot of rap music, which I don't know if that sounds strange to you, but I listen to a lot of R&B. And my biggest influence is Brian McKnight and Babyface, and I look at the way that they write, and I write based on the way that they write, but add my own twist to it.
That's dope, man. So before we go any more deeper into your music, man, I need to ask you a favor and plug in all your music and your Instagram, your Twitter, Facebook, whatever you got going on.
My basically all I have is BandLab, Instagram, and SoundCloud. You know, Instagram is Renaissance Child 33, and same thing with the SoundCloud, Renaissance Child.
All right, man. That's so. So let me ask you this, man. Song you dropped on BandLab, what was the name of it?
You cut out. I couldn't get you.
Oh, your first song on BandLab, the first song you published on BandLab, what was it?
The very first song that I published on BandLab was a song called Feelings, and I went back and made it private because I was listening to it and I want to go back and improve on it. But I basically went into the mix editor. I was having a bad day, and I went into the mix editor and just started laying some stuff down. I didn't even write this down. I just I'm not real big on freestyling, but I went off the dome with it, and I hadn't been on BandLab that long, so I didn't really know how the mix editor worked. So now that I pretty much got the hang of it, I can go back and I can edit it the way I like, and I can add something to it and kind of take it from there. But yeah, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, but now that I have the time, the means, and the resources to do it, I'm gonna actually go back and do it.
That's dope, man. So how did you discover BandLab?
Oh man, believe it or not, it was an ad that popped up when I was watching a YouTube video. I was watching a YouTube video because I was trying to get my YouTube channel going because I was deep into gaming. Well, I'm still deep into gaming, but I saw an ad for BandLab and I wanted to see if what was advertised, if it was true. That you can make and create and publish your own music. So I was like, it's worth a shot. I want to give it a go and see what this is all about. And here we go. Fast forward. Let me see. Today is the 12th. In 2 days, I'll be on BandLab for a whole year.
Damn, bro, that's crazy, man. Because I think I started about a year ago too, like on July 31st. But that's dope, man. Let me ask you this, man. What were you going through? Were you overwhelmed whenever you dropped your first song?
Yeah, I was, man. This was around the time when I was going through a whole bunch of personal issues, and I mean, I'm not ashamed of any of the things that I did. I had 2 failed suicide attempts. So, I was going through some stuff, and I had just recently got diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. And instead of going the route that I had previously went, I decided I want to try to make use of this app that I just downloaded.
Would you say that your music is your therapy?
Yeah, music is definitely my therapy. It's like, because I mean, I'm not big into words as far as open communication, but man, once the pen hits the page, then I could just unload
What
and
is
not
it?
have any second thoughts about it.
That's dope. So what is your song that means the most to you right now, man?
The song that means the most to me is one that I did in my group, The Vibe. It's called "The Struggle," because that's telling my story of the internal battles that I'm faced with on a daily basis. Is basically my battle with the devil. The devil's telling me to end it, and the devil's telling me to get into a life of crime, and I'm struggling with my faith.
Man, that's what's up. Hey, let me ask you this. With that video, I mean, with that song that you have wrote, can we expect a video to it?
Possibly. That's something that's always in the back of my head. I just want to get the ends and the funds to put some stuff together. And I know some people that can do some pretty good stuff for computers. So yeah, it's possible that um, that we can get a video out of it. The only thing about it is I got to get a heavy hitter A79 Deuce. I mean, he's out in California, so we got to find a way to link up so we can make this thing happen because he was the one that played the devil in that song.
Oh man, that's dope, bro. All right, man. Let me ask you this: have you ever did any live performances?
Other than poetry, nah. Well, I mean, if you count singing in the choir and playing the drums and stuff, yeah, that counts. So yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this: were you nervous or were you overwhelmed whenever you were doing the performances?
No, not at all. Because when I was singing in the choir and stuff, that wasn't for me. That was all for the glory of God. And my poetry shows and stuff like that. It's you're in the room with like-minded people, and if you're focusing on your craft, then there's no reason to get nervous because you know what you're capable of, and you're surrounded by a group of people that share your thoughts and feelings and ideals, so they know what you're capable of. It's basically like being in a big room with friends and family.
That's dope, man. So let me ask you this: since you have the experience of knowing what it is to sing in front of a crowd, do you think you would have any problem performing any of your songs on BandLab?
No, not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't have any problem with performing anything that I've written. The thing about it is having to remember what I wrote because, and if I'm not mistaken, I have over 100 songs published on BandLab.
Over 100?
Yeah, over 100 between myself and Heavy Hitter A79 Deuce, we have a little more than 100, and that's not including songs that I did with other people outside of what me and him are building.
That's dope, man. So, wow, over 100 songs. What are your plans for 2020, man?
2020, my plans for 2020 is just to keep grinding. You know, I got, just to try to get some more original stuff out. I have a couple of songs on Spotify, and the latest song that I put out, Renaissance Tale with Short D. This one, it took off unexpectedly. You know what I'm saying? I have over 60,000 streams on that song, and from that song alone, I've gained over 1,200 followers on Spotify. And that song is telling my story about you know rejection, of how I was told that my bars suck, and basically my road to getting back into the game.
Man, that's dope. Hey, man, I gotta go stream that right after this interview. So let me ask you this, man: would you ever perform that song live, like on YouTube Live, Instagram Live, Facebook Live, or any other live streaming platform?
Uh, yeah, if I can, yeah, I wouldn't mind, putting on a show, doing something like that. I just, once I get myself right, then yeah, I definitely, look into putting on a show for everybody, just to show that, how appreciative I am. Because at the end of the day, I'm not doing this for followers or anything like that. Some fame would be nice because there's money that comes along with it. But I at the end of the day, I do this for me, and the fact that there's so many people that listen, I just want to show my appreciation. So I would do something like that.
That's dope, bro. So let me ask you this: what's your top favorite collab you got?
Uh, ooh, that's tough to say. My top favorite collab, uh, man, uh, anything that I've done with Short D, Lena Rose, Frank Zito, anything that I've done with those guys. Just call me Q. Anything that I've done with those guys, they rank amongst the top of. They hold a special place for me because these people reached out to me because they saw something in me that nobody else saw. So any opportunity I get to work with them, I jump on it.
That's dope, man. So let me ask you this: Do you have any future collabs that you haven't worked with, or any artists that you are gonna work this year?
Uh, yeah, I got some collabs coming with Sid Vicious and Martyrs Brigade. You know, they reached out to me. They welcomed me into their group, and they treat me like family. So, you know, I want to do some stuff with her and do some stuff with all of them. I got some more stuff coming with Dynamic Talent Squad, and maybe a few more tracks coming with the vibe. Just a
What?
bunch of people. Just I try to keep my circle close knit. You know.
All right, bro. So let me ask you this. Hey, bro. What would you say to inspire the youth?
And just don't lose sight of what's in front of you. If you want something, you go for it. Don't let anybody tell you anything different, because at the end of the day, that's what you're striving for. You're not doing it to satisfy anybody else. You're doing it for you. So I would want them to learn from my mistakes and not give up.
How are you different from other artists?
I'm different from other artists because I don't conform. I stay true to myself. And I feel like if everybody stays true to themselves, then, at the end of the day, you win, because it's not about doing what everybody else likes. It's about doing what you feel. And personally, if I can touch one person and get them to listen to my message, then I succeeded.
That's dope, man. So let's talk about all the 28 bands that you're involved with. How did you get involved with them, and how does it feel to be recognized that much?
It all started with Astro Music. I barely had, I hadn't even had 100 followers yet when I got invited to join that group. And then it just started from there. It feels pretty good to be recognized like that. So it means that a lot of people are actually listening to what I have to say, and some of these groups I've formed some strong bonds. With people that I feel like they can't be broken. Some of these people are like family to me. But most importantly is the simple fact that I don't get involved in drama. I don't beef with people. I got love and respect for everybody to an extent. If you respect me, I respect you. And if there's an issue with something, then I would expect them to come at me, directly, instead of putting it on the track, because I would hate to have to, put myself out there like that and, spend that time and energy writing something that's, mean spirited. So, it basically comes from, just networking and, trying to get to know different people.
That's dope, man. So you already been on the lab for about a year, and you already got a big buzz going, man. How did you deal with that, man?
I just keep being me. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a normal person. I mean, the music is fun and the recognition is nice, but at the end of the day, I'm still a normal human being that likes to play NBA 2K.
Do you get overwhelmed with invites?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Because I mean, surprisingly, I don't get very many invites from people that I don't know. So if it's somebody that I don't know, I'll take a listen. But I have so many projects that are pending right now that if I do decide to get to it, it'll be after I get a handle on some of these other projects that I'm currently working on. And I took a bit of a break from the lab for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, just because I had got sick for one, and being that I'm in Texas, this heat is brutal. and I was having issues with my air conditioner. So I used that time away to get my mind right, focus on get better with writing and things like that. But I welcome invites. Just I have a specific style that I like, and I try to stick with that.
Everything has to fit the criteria, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if it doesn't, I still try it. But I had one situation in the beginning where I was just trying to knock out everything that I was invited to until somebody hit me in my inbox and said that I was wasting my time and that I sucked. I was like, okay, so if I suck so bad, let me stop, focusing on these invites and let me start putting out some of my own stuff, with beats that I like. And I like a lot of boom bap and soul loops and things like that. That they're better suited for my voice. And I think once I started doing that is when I really started, building a follower base, and a lot of people start paying attention.
Who is your music targeted towards?
My music is targeted towards anybody that's willing to listen. Like I said, I try to keep it. I mean, I like wordplay, so sometimes I may spit something that'll make you think. And for those that understand that message, it's for them. The music is for them.
Favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Man. My favorite quote is something recently that I did with Just Call Me Q. I may not be a pickle, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that one is my favorite. I had fun with that one. I chuckled a few times when I came up with that one.
So, what's the history of where you from, man?
Born and raised in Houston, Texas. Been here my entire life. All my family and friends are still here, but I got East Coast mentality.
If you could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
If I could collab with anybody right now, oh man, I would collab with Jay Dilla, just because that was one of my musical inspirations. And I listened to all the beats that he made, and over the years, and all the artists that he's made beats from as far as Busta Rhymes all the way to Erykah Badu. He was talented, he was versatile, and he innovated the game with soul loops. He was the one that pioneered that. So if I could collab with anybody, I would definitely collab with him.
What are your music guilty pleasures?
Music guilty pleasures. Video game soundtracks.
What do you do outside of music, big dog? Like, if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't doing music, then, and I don't know what I would be doing. Probably gaming or computer work. I mean, I'm in school for business right now, so I would most likely be focusing on something around that.
What inspired you to go to school for business?
I got sick. I got sick, and I couldn't work anymore. And I decided that I needed to do something to, make myself feel like I'm contributing to something. And I wanted to feel like I had a purpose.
Hell yeah, big dog. You got any special shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, man, I want to give a special shout out to my partner in crime, Heavy Hitter 879 Deuce, and give another shout out to my brother Godson, and the Runner and Black Cuzzy. That's my Renaissance Hitters family. Though if it wasn't for those guys, I don't know where I would be.
So, how is your music going to evolve from here, man?
This is, I mean, me and Heavy Hitter, we talk about it all the time. We improve with every track. We get better. So the next step is evolving from BandLab and getting, on a much higher platform. I'm looking at we talk about it all the time, record deals, doing shows, going on tour, seeing our names in lights. And I mean, it's not too far fetched, you know?
Final words.
Final words, just, first off, I appreciate you for having me on. That first and foremost, that's important to me, that this means a lot. But, I mean, there are more people that I want to shout out, but it's just too many to name. Special shout out to Short D. She is really helping me. She's by my side through a lot of different things, and I appreciate that. Love her to death. She knows it. Basically, the last thing I would say is just for anybody that's going through something similar, just keep walking that path, and you'll be fine. If I can do it, then everyone else can too.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Renaissance Child. This is Strictly for the Music podcast, and we're out.
Hey.